What's going on, everyone? What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of D-Lin Reacts. I'm your host, Mr. D-Lin, and we back with another reaction video. I told y'all I was going to do part two of the Marvin Gaye last 24 hours, didn't I? So I'm back. Here we go. As y'all can see the title, the Marvin Gaye, the last 24 hours, part two. If y'all ain't check part one out, make sure y'all go over there, check part one out, leave me a follow over there, leave me a comment. Hey, and we rocking. Without further ado, we're going to get into part two for the last 24 hours of the late, great Marvin Gaye.
And he was gearing up towards it too. So he never went, but he was going to.
In reality, Marvin's cocaine abuse is getting worse. In the last few years, he'd started freebasing. The drug was killing him slowly.
It was crazy because it destroyed him basically because, you know, most of the membranes in his nose were gone. It had burned out. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I know, you know, he always smoked. But that was nothing, you know, just smoke. But then I think he probably smoked less and just did more cocaine. Just got to the point where just
I've never ever once in my life did any type of hard drug, so I don't even know how cocaine feel. Of course, I've sold it before, way back when I was way back in the gap. Uh, Cooked it, but I've never ingested it myself. Like as far as doing cocaine, I've never sniffed it. The reaction I get, but people around me, of course, have. But the reaction I get when I see people who former cocaine addicts, when they speak about cocaine, they speak of it. They speak of it as it's just this infinity high they just can never break. It's like they go to heaven for like 10 minutes and then they come back down to earth and they want some more. You know what I mean? It's like, but their 10 minutes really be like what they thinking in their mind. 10 minutes, it really be like 4 5 hours. They didn't know. You know, so they just be up. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's wild. We're gonna get back into it though.
took over everything, and you know, he was just not himself at all, you know.
Many black people have a very high tolerance for discomfort. I believe that, you know, we feel bad all the time, and that's just the way it is for us, and we'll deal with it. So I'm not surprised at all that Marvin Gaye never sought treatment, because I think that he believed that he should be able to do this on his own.
In the final hours of his life, Marvin was a slave to his addiction and at war with his father. The deadly combination of drugs and conflict would soon end his life. "14 years earlier, the Vietnam War was at its height, and Marvin Gaye was about to hit his peak. With the success of I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin had won creative control over his next album.
Marvin had a lot of talent and a lot of creativity, and he had more ability than most of the producers that were there at the time.
Marvin took inspiration from the Vietnam War to write one of the most successful concept albums of all time. What's Going On was a tribute to his brother Frankie, who fought in the war.
What's Going On, Marvin dedicated to Frankie because of all his stories. He gave him the inspiration to write that album.
It was a masterpiece. With What's Going On, Marvin resurrected deeply held spiritual beliefs. He was delivering a message about poverty, racism, and war.
Marvin was the type of man who carried the world on his shoulders. Everything affected him. He felt he wanted to do something about it, and the only way he could do anything about it, he thought, was through music.
Marvin wanted his music to matter, that he would be the voice of someone that would inspire social change.
But Motown was about upbeat dance music. Berry Gordy hated What's Going On.
Marvin Gaye was a different type, man. Marvin Gaye was a different type. Uh, his music lives on. He lives on. He was just ahead of his time. And usually when the people are ahead of their time, not all the time, but a lot of the time they end up passing early. Aaliyah, man, I can go on and on. They end up passing early if they're really Tupac. For instance, check my Tupac video out too. I did the last 24 hours of Tupac. Make sure y'all go check that out. But usually when they get so much fame and so much notoriety, uh, so quick, they end up expiring quick, unfortunately. But yeah, we're gonna get back into the video.
He refused to release it.
Berry Gordy's reaction was one of how would a Marvin Gaye fan relate to this?
Marvin came to my hotel room after I left Motown. And he told me, he says, Kim, he says, I recorded the best album I've ever done, and nobody likes it. Not my wife, not Berry Gordy, nobody likes it. And I said, Marvin, do you like it? He says, it's the best thing I've ever done.
Marvin swore he'd never record another song unless Motown released What's Going On. They did in 1971. It was an immediate sensation. 500,000 copies sold in the first day.
Tonight, I'm so proud to have the greatest singer in the world in the auditorium tonight. It's Marvin Gaye.
The next year, Marvin made a triumphant return home. Washington, D.C. proclaimed May 1st Marvin Gaye Day. It gave Marvin something he'd never had before, the respect and admiration of his father.
To be hugged by his father in public, oh yes. That was a wonderful thing for my father to walk up to him and say, son, I'm so proud of you. This is wonderful. You have really caused me to be very proud of you. And so that was a good thing. Very good.
I wasn't there for Marvin Gaye Day in 1972, but I have a feeling it was, he talked about it a lot, and I think it was a big deal. I think it was like a little happy moment, actually. One of these Polaroid pictures where Mommy and Daddy and Marvin were reunited, and I think it was sweet.
Everyone in the community came, and it was a big deal, and then...
Hey, y'all, I gotta pop my stuff real quick, man. Man, who be giving y'all more live reaction videos than me, man? Look, I don't be wanting to talk out through the video. If it wasn't for YouTube giving copyright stripes and they doing all that, I'll talk even less. But man, look here, man. This is what I do, man. Like, this is what I do, man. I try to get y'all the best videos possible. So to react to the best videos possible, because it's a lot of stuff going on out here. It's a lot of videos out here, but I try to find the best ones, something that I feel like my audience would enjoy, pretty much. So when we react to these videos, we reacting to them together. So without further ado, we're gonna get back into the video.
Wham, and people in Motown and others that may not have known Marvin's family that well saw, and I think they were in the public's eye. So I think he wanted to do the right thing, and I think he really, just had a change of heart. He was going to give it his good shot. He was going to do his part if Dad would do his part.
I think it's one of those snapshots out of his life of perhaps what could have been had there been true harmony between Mom, Dad, and Marvin. Had there been some kind of reconciliation, had there been some kind of deep understanding. On that day, it was okay. But that day was a very isolated day and a very extraordinary day, and a day not at all typical.
Tragically, this was a fleeting moment of happiness. Father and son would never find a lasting peace. The years of conflict and violence had left scars too deep to heal.
Wow.
It's early morning in LA. Marvin Gaye has less than 4 hours to live. Yesterday's argument over money has been simmering since last night.
Good morning, Mother Gaye.
Good morning.
Marvin's sister-in-law brings breakfast for his mother. She tells her to give it to Marvin. Even this small act of favoritism is seen as an insult by Marvin's father.
Oh, daddy be
You
hate.
could just tell. You could tell when Father's mom, just by the glare down the hallway, he was upset that Mother didn't say, give Father the breakfast instead of give Marvin the breakfast. Because I believe Father built up a jealousy over Marvin and Mother's relationship because she paid so much attention to Marvin.
Marvin was her baby, and you know, if there was any choice between the two, it would always be Marvin. And you know, he loved her so much, and if there was any animosity or jealousy, it would have been on the father's part, because I don't think Marvin felt that you know, she favored the father over him at any time.
As she sets down the breakfast, Marvin's sister-in-law notices he's in a bad way.
Marvin didn't look well. He looked absolutely wiped out. He looked like he hadn't slept for days. He just looked tired. It was almost like he just wanted to give up.
Okay, well, make sure you have some later, okay? It'll make you feel better.
In fact, over the last few weeks, those who knew him well believed Marvin was contemplating suicide.
He had a desire not to live. And so when I think of it in terms of the uses of drugs and everything, he was basically trying to take himself out. But he was a very strong individual.
As he wakes, Marvin is in pain physically and mentally. He's exhausted, his body wrecked by years of drug abuse. He was a man looking for a way out.
Real quick, man. If you or anybody yet you know or dealing and battling a drug addiction, man, try everything in your power to get them some help. Or if you're looking at this, I don't really rather they have 0 views or rather they have 24 million views. That's not the point. Get yourself some help. You are important. You are loved. You are valued. And you have a purpose in this world. Don't ever forget that.
10 years earlier, Marvin was at the top of his game. What's Going On had secured his place among the greats of soul music. With his career on track, he tried to make a fresh start with his family. He moved to Hollywood and bought his parents a house in LA. But his success failed to bring the Gaye family closer together.
Once we moved into what we call the big house on Gramercy, things started deteriorating, I would say. I noticed that my father was becoming more and more recluse, which meant he didn't want to go anywhere or do anything. And it was my mother who was going places and doing things. My mother would accompany my brother on his tours. But it's not that he never asked my father. He would always ask him, and he would always say no.
Marvin's father still frowned on his son's career, even though he lived off his royalties.
Man,
His father withheld the approval to his son to the point of destroying him. Unfortunately, I beg to differ on father. I think he was very, very poisoned by negativity, and it was important to him to play takeaway with people that wanted something from him. And Marvin really wanted it from him. He hated it. He loved him at the same time. You know, it's just he didn't want any acknowledgement from him. Then he really wanted everything from him. So it was just like it just became a curse on Marvin, you know, and it just drove him into everything in his life like that: his music, his relationships, his kids, everything.
Marvin pulled away from his father again and immersed himself in the LA music scene.
LA in the 1970s had this kind of coke plague, where everybody was tooting and rooting and going crazy with cocaine, and particularly in the music world.
It wasn't long before Marvin was addicted to cocaine.
I saw it increase. First, it was just a little bit here and there if there were parties or this and that. It became just off the hook. Eating it, smoking it, any kind of way you can take it. It made him real nervous and uptight and paranoid. All the symptoms of that type of a drug,
Marvin's marriage to Anna Gordy fell apart, and he hooked up with 16-year-old Janice Hunter.
She was this absolutely gorgeous teenager.
They met while Marvin was recording Let's Get It On, his tribute to sexual freedom. She became his second wife, and Marvin set about creating his ideal woman.
I think he saw in Jan a way to mold a woman, take this teenager and turn her into what he thought a woman should be.
Marvin's ideal woman was his mother.
Do y'all really feel like most men, if if they could get away with it, they would take a younger girl so they can grab her, take her, and then mold her to the exact type of woman that they want as a wife? If you don't know, that's usually why they do it. Just being honest, most of the older women, they're already stuck in their ways to who they are. So they'll try to go get the younger ones so they can build them up and mold them to exactly how they want them. I digress.
But it was an image no one could live up to.
I believe that he held her up as a standard by which he gauged the morality, the ability to commit, the perseverance, the charm, the grace that his mom had. And then he, in turn, created a self-fulfilling prophecy that, nobody's going to be able to do it for me.
As Janice failed to meet his expectations, their relationship blew apart. Infidelities led to jealousy and quickly turned to rage.
Well, I had to go underground with my sister for a week or two because he was threatening to kill her. Until he called one day and said, all right, it's over. I want to see my girl. And she went back to him, and, then they went on another vacation.
Marvin had this ability to shoot himself in the foot. Marvin had this ability where this uncanny psychological mechanism which would undermine happiness. And he would figure out a way to complicate his life. He loved drama. He loved emotional drama. He went for pain. He found ways to hurt himself over and over and over again.
It's very common that addicts and alcoholics will sabotage their own success because it's a lot easier to kind of stay in the addiction and get applause for doing 50%. Whereas if you're supposed to have it together, the expectation is that you're going to do 100%.
So here's the thing: a lot of people gotta understand, money don't. Especially a lot of ladies, man. Like, don't get it messed up. We all need money to live, especially in America. But don't let money be the as all be all as to why you dealing with a man, because he might have the money, but it might be a lot of demons from his childhood that's attached to that money with him. So if you get with the man and he have money, naturally you're going to attach some of them demons to you because you're around them all the time. You see what I'm saying? So you really got to be careful. Don't let the money be the be all, because character is important too. You know what I mean? This man had it all, had everything, but he was addicted to cocaine, So, yeah.
Constant supply of cocaine, Marvin was becoming the violent, controlling man who had tormented him as a child, his father. On his last day, Marvin and his father are locked in a power struggle, seething at opposite ends of the house. a lifetime of resentment will soon end in tragedy. It's late morning. Marvin Gaye has just 2 hours to live. Marvin is staying with his parents in LA. Addicted to cocaine, he's suffering paranoid delusions. He thinks someone wants to kill him. His father is fed up with his son's madness and drug use. When he can't find some important business papers, his anger explodes.
Mother!
When he storms into Marvin's room, another bitter quarrel erupts.
Mother, where are those papers?
Marvin, his whole life, was told what to do, not just by his father, but by Motown and everybody else. And when he came back home, things from the past just sort of built up.
For the first time in his life, Marvin strikes his father.
And I'm sure Marvin may have pushed him.
Ooh, that might have been a mistake. Ooh, he hit him with a quick right. Come here. Come here. Charlie, you talking to me like crazy. Charlie, you talking to me crazy. Marvin tripped out, man. Marvin spazzed out. Ow. Caught him with a stiff left. Oh, man, nah, Marvin, man, nah, bro.
And when he fell, Marvin kicked him for what my mother said. And then he got up and went into his room.
I warned you. You don't talk to me. You don't think I'm sick.
Marvin's father leaves the room humiliated, all respect for his authority gone.
A lot of young men, they grow up in homes where they're under the thumb of an oppressive, critical parent who had convinced them all their lives that they weren't good enough. And so part of their growing up and coming into their own and being successful is an opportunity for them to say to the parent, screw you, I got the power now. See?
I knew in my heart that if my brother or any of us struck my father, that he would do something terrible. Because my father had always told us that he would if we ever did.
Five years earlier, ravaged by his cocaine addiction, Marvin's career had stalled, and he was on the run from the taxman. Federal agents had seized his house in LA for failure to pay taxes, and he was living out of a van in Hawaii.
I'm trying to think of a good word to use for how he saw money. He was very free with it, for one thing. And he didn't take it truly serious. He didn't.
He wasn't a person that cared about money, so you couldn't lure him into doing this and doing that by mentioning some figure. It was just, he was a kind-hearted person.
He bought himself a Rolls Royce and bought himself a couple of houses and a place in Jamaica and never went to Jamaica. I mean, he just lived in chaos.
In Hawaii, Marvin was running from his problems. He was at war with everyone, his wife Janice, Motown, and the IRS.
That's where he fell into really great depression. And his cocaine habit worsened. You know, he was getting high all the time.
I guess the whole thing about Hawaii was just sort of like, take the people that were into the same kind of sadness and self-destructiveness and do it for a while.
After 7 months, mounting debt forces Marvin Gaye back onto the stage. But a tour in Britain ended in scandal when Gaye skipped a concert and left Princess Margaret waiting for hours. Once again, Marvin went into hiding. this time in Belgium.
Man, that man was hurt. That man was depressed. That man was all like that man had the weight of literally the weight of, like his mom said, the weight of the world on his shoulders, man. Like you're running from the IRS, you're running from Motown because you're probably in the hole with him. Your wife on you. You know what I'm saying? You can't shake this dope habit. That's a lot to deal with, man. For anyone, man, that's a lot to deal with, man.
Away from the pressures and temptations of LA, Marvin began to rally. In 1982, CBS paid $1.5 million to buy out his contract with Motown.
And it was in Ostend where Marvin began to recover and build up enough strength to make his sort of last comeback.
Marvin was off cocaine, but his failed relationships with women haunted him. Ritz visited him in Belgium, where he saw Gaye's apartment filled with sadomasochistic drawings.
I think he was tortured by the fact that he never had a good romantic female relationship. And I remember saying to Marvin, this is sick. What you really need is sexual healing. And he said, I love that idea. I want, just sort of write a poem about it. So I wrote these lyrics, and he immediately took them and put a melody to it.
Sexual Healing and the album Midnight Love became the first hits Marvin had had in 9 years, winning him 2 Grammys. But back in LA, he became hooked once again on cocaine. On his final concert tour, Marvin's addiction spiraled out of control. While millions of fans reveled in his performance, backstage, Marvin was self-destructing.
It was not an easy tour to keep control of, and it become pathetic because we had loved ones bringing in drugs, and you couldn't keep it away from it.
I went to a couple of concerts, but I was not on the tour. I wouldn't even go close to it. It was crazy. He thought someone was trying to kill him.
Marvin insisted on having his brother beside him at all times as a decoy for his imagined killer. They looked so much alike. The cocaine was driving Marvin insane.
That is very consistent with heavy daily cocaine.
Look, y'all, real quick. This probably gonna be my last time I stop it before the end of the video. But look, like I was saying earlier, man, this man was so paranoid on cocaine, he swear somebody was trying to kill him, even up on stage, man. Like he had snorted so much coke that his paranoia became his reality, and he started living like somebody was actually after him, with knowing that no one was after him, man. Get help, man. Get help, please. If you know somebody to know somebody to know somebody, reach one, teach one, man.
Use. And actually, one of the number one reasons that we see addicts in a psychiatric unit is for a drug-induced psychosis.
It's the beginning of, I think, the most tortured part of his life, when he loses his mind, and out of his mind constructs a kind of a screenplay of his own death. And it all begins, I think, on this final tour.
As the tour ground on, Marvin began stripping down to his underwear while singing Sexual Healing.
And to me, it was very sad because it showed that he wasn't feeling the love that people were offering him. And he was feeling like an object. Ultimately, he didn't understand that he was deeply loved by his fans, deeply loved for who he was, this complicated character.
After the tour, a broken Marvin Gaye retreated to his parents' house. It was a fatal mistake.
He returned to the source of his psychological dilemma. And by now it's worse. It's exacerbated by his drug use, by his dad's alcoholism. There's no clarity.
Marvin Gaye has less than 1 hour to live. In a violent argument, Marvin has just struck his father for the first time in his life. Some believe he knew exactly what the consequence would be.
Kicking your father. Son, Marvin.
I told him if you keep bothering your father, he means it when he says, I brought you in this world, and if you ever hit me, I'll take you out.
After bringing breakfast to Marvin, his sister-in-law is back in her apartment next to the main house. Marvin's brother Frankie is with her. They're unaware of the fight going on next door.
Marvin, kicking.
By beating his father, some believe Marvin had found a way to end his life.
Marvin was really and truly, as he explained to me, in no uncertain terms, he didn't want to live.
Without explanation, he just shot him.
I heard the pops of the gun.
Frankie, I just heard a gunshot.
What shot? I didn't hear a thing.
No, I heard 2 gunshots like 2 seconds ago.
Are you sure?
And he said,
I'm
oh
sure
no,
you
that
didn't
was
hear
just a car on the freeway. It must have been. And I said, Frankie, it sounded like a gun to me. And he said, no, we live right next to the freeway, you know.
Guess Dad made him this promise.
Frankie!
She collapsed in my arms. And I'm asking her, what's wrong? What's wrong? And all that I could hear was shot. And I'm like, you're shot? And she said, no, father shot Marvin.
Marvin Gaye has been shot twice, once in the shoulder, once in the chest. One of the bullets has damaged several vital organs, and he's losing blood fast. Marvin's brother Frankie rushes into the house, but he's cautious, scared that his father may attack again. Marvin is conscious when Frankie finds him. He yells to Irene to call 911 and then waits with his brother for the paramedics to arrive. His father is still armed and in the house.
He was conscious when Frankie was holding him. But
Paramedics arrive in under 10 minutes, but they refuse to enter the house while Marvin's father and the gun are still inside.
Father? Father?
so I found father. He was sitting on his bed.
It's Irene.
And I'm asking him, where did you put the gun,
Where'd you put
father?
the gun?
And he was just sitting there, very calm. And he looked up at me and said,
What gun?
what gun? It was just like there was nobody home. And I said, the paramedics are here and they need to come in and they won't come until the gun is outside. Please tell me where the gun is. And he just bowed his head. I was going through his drawers and everything, looking for the gun. And I flipped his pillow and it was under his pillow.
Marvin is dying in his brother's arms. A full 20 minutes pass before paramedics can get to him.
Because Marvin didn't die on the spot. He died on his way to the hospital.
I remember the one at the end of the stretcher asking me, did I know his name? And when I said, it's Marvin Gaye, he looked at me twice and he said, you don't mean the Marvin Gaye? And I said, yes, and he just started to cry.
You can't really describe the hurt and the pain. Because when you love someone, it's just a hurt that you cannot describe.
I remember coming out of a baseball game on that day, on April 1st, April Fool's Day, and hearing on the radio Marvin Gaye's, father has shot and killed Marvin. And I thought to myself, that's how he's going to do it. Oh my God. That's so Marvin. That's so perversely brilliant.
I'm gonna stop that right there, man. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. As always, hold on, let me get up in your face. As always, man, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I'm your host, D-Lin. This is D-Lin Reacts. If y'all ain't followed by now, if y'all ain't liked by now, hey, what y'all waiting for? Man, hit that like button, man. Get them likes up, man, so we can push this content to a broader audience. Y'all know I got the best live reactions. See, I do actual live reactions. I've never seen these videos before, so yeah, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me again. Until the next time, keep it ghost.